Welcome back to our channel. Turn a quarter into a classic, own a piece of history with this timeless coin. The year was 1985, a year that brought with it changes, challenges, and moments that would shape history. It was a time of technological advances, political shifts, and cultural milestones. Yet, among all the significant events happening in the world, something rather humble, an ordinary coin, was quietly entering circulation, soon to become one of the most remarkable finds in numismatics. That coin, the 1985 US quarter, would go on to surprise the world, transforming into something far more valuable than anyone could have imagined. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1985 quarter, exploring its historical context, its design, and why this particular coin holds such incredible value today. You see, the journey of this coin, once valued at only 25 cents, has taken a remarkable turn. A simple minting error, combined with its rarity and appeal to collectors, has made the 1985 quarter worth a staggering $140,000. But how did we get here? How did a coin so seemingly ordinary become so extraordinary? Let's take a closer look. To understand the significance of the 1985 quarter, it's essential to first look at the history of the US quarter-dollar coin itself. The quarter dollar has been part of American currency since the nation's early years, and over the centuries, it's undergone several design changes. The original design, featuring a portrait of Lady Liberty, was used on quarters from the late 18th century until the early 20th century. Then, in 1932, a design change occurred that would forever define the quarter-dollar coin in the eyes of Americans. That was the year the U.S. Mint introduced the Washington quarter, featuring the profile of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The design was created by John Flanagan, and it became the definitive look for the U.S. quarter dollar for decades to come. Washington's image graced the obverse, front, of the coin, and the reverse, back, showed an eagle, symbolizing the strength and majesty of the United States. For more than 50 years, this design remained unchanged. The 1932 Washington quarter became a symbol of American history and pride, circulating in millions, and the design was etched into the nation's collective memory. However, as time went on, the U.S. Mint decided to introduce variations of the coin, keeping the Washington profile but experimenting with new reverse designs. By the 1980s, the U.S. Mint had already begun to produce new commemorative quarter designs in order to reflect the changing cultural landscape. While the Washington quarter's obverse remained a fixture of American coinage, the reverse saw some changes, marking the transition from the traditional eagle design to new commemorative representations. But it was in 1985 that an error would occur in the minting process, a mistake so subtle that it would initially go unnoticed by the public. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1985 quarter so special. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins each year. Most of these coins are made with remarkable precision, but occasionally, due to slight errors in the minting process, something unexpected happens. These errors can take many forms, from off-center strikes to double strikes to die cracks. And in 1985, a rare error occurred with the quarter-dollar coins that would ultimately make the 1985 quarters of particular interest to collectors. It's important to remember that, typically, a coin is struck once, perfectly centered on its planchet, the metal disc from which the coin is made. When the die and planchet are misaligned, or when the coin is struck more than once in slightly different positions, it creates an error coin. These errors are typically rare, and even more rare are the error coins that escape the mint's scrutiny and make it into general circulation. The 1985 quarter was one such coin. Due to a misalignment during the minting process, a certain number of 1,985 quarters were struck off-center. This subtle mistake caused the design of the coin to be misaligned, with part of the obverse and reverse being cut off or incomplete. The result was a quarter that no longer adhered to the perfect symmetry most coins are known for. But why do these off-center errors matter? In the world of coin collecting, even the smallest mistake can make a coin exponentially more valuable. Off-center coins are coveted by collectors because they are unique, rare, and display a story of the minting process gone awry. The 1985 off-center quarters, because of their relative rarity and historical significance, quickly caught the attention of the numismatic community. Once a few examples were discovered, it didn't take long for coin collectors and investors to realize just how special these coins were. So, what made the 1985 off-center quarters so valuable? For one, the minting error was not widespread. While millions of quarters were produced in 1985, only a very small percentage contained this specific error. In addition, the condition of these error coins played a major role in their value. A coin with an off-center strike in excellent condition is far more valuable than one in poor condition. As a result, the pristine examples of these coins quickly became highly sought after. Collectors began to compete for the 1985 off-center quarters, driving up the prices of these error coins. The rarity of the coins, combined with their historical context and unique nature, led to a growing demand. A coin that was once worth just 25 cents was now fetching hundreds, then thousands, and eventually tens of thousands of dollars. Over time, the value of the 1985 off-center quarter continued to rise as demand among collectors surged, but the story doesn't end there. As more and more collectors discovered the 1985 quarter with the off-center minting error, a few particularly rare examples were auctioned off at record prices. These coins were graded by professional numismatic organizations, which carefully assessed their quality and condition. The better the grade, the higher the value. One of the finest examples of a 1985 off-center quarter, with a near-perfect strike and minimal wear, sold for an eye-popping $140,000. That's right, $140,000 for a coin that was once worth just a quarter. This remarkable value is a testament to the power of rarity and demand in the world of coin collecting. While millions of 1985 quarters were produced, only a handful of off-center error coins were ever found, and even fewer remain in pristine condition. This rarity, combined with the allure of owning a coin that tells the story of a minting error, made the 1985 quarter a coveted item in the world of numismatics. But what does this mean for collectors today? If you happen to come across a 1985 quarter, it's worth inspecting it carefully. While the vast majority of these coins are perfectly normal and hold little more value than their face value of 25 cents, you might just stumble upon an off-center error that could change your life. With a bit of luck and a trained eye, that quarter could be worth a small fortune, $140,000, to be exact. As the years go by and more of these rare quarters enter the market, it's likely that their value will continue to grow. The 1985 off-center quarter stands as a reminder that even the smallest of mistakes can lead to extraordinary outcomes, and how the world of coin collecting is driven by the quest for uniqueness and history. So, the next time you're digging through your spare change, take a moment to examine those coins closely. You never know when you might come across an error that could be worth a life-changing amount. And who knows? That 1985 quarter might just be sitting in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. The year 2005 was a time of change and reflection for the United States, a year when the nation celebrated its history while looking toward the future. But within that year of modernity, the U.S. Mint was busy commemorating the past with a series of coins that would go on to capture the hearts of collectors. Among these coins was a special release, the Oregon 1859 quarter. This coin was more than just currency, it was a tribute to the state of Oregon and its rich history. But for many who held the coin in their hands at the time, few could have predicted the story it would eventually tell. A seemingly ordinary quarter would become an extraordinary find, with a value that would rise to a staggering $123,000. How could a coin, worth just 25 cents, become so valuable? Let's dive deep into the history of the Oregon 1859 quarter dollar, tracing its origins, design, minting process, and why it's one of the most sought-after coins in numismatics today. We'll explore the circumstances surrounding its creation, the hidden errors that have made it so valuable, and the allure it holds for collectors around the world. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this particular quarter is worth so much more than a quarter. To start, we must first understand the significance of the year 2005 in the context of U.S. coinage. The United States had a long history of commemorating its states and territories with special quarter designs. In 1999, the U.S. Mint began the 50-state quarters program, which featured a new design for each state's quarter, with 5 new designs being released every year. By the time 2005 arrived, the program was nearing its conclusion. Oregon, having been admitted to the Union in 1859, was the 33rd state to be honored with its own quarter, the Oregon 1859 quarter, part of the final set in the 50-state quarters program, featured a design that paid tribute to the state's natural beauty and history. The reverse side of the coin depicts a stunning representation of Crater Lake, one of Oregon's most iconic landmarks, with a majestic depiction of a scene that evokes the splendor of the state's wild, untamed landscape. Surrounding this image are the words, Oregon 1859, marking the state's entrance into the Union. It was a beautiful, fitting tribute to the state of Oregon, with its pristine wilderness, rich history, and unique geological features. At first glance, the coin appeared to be just another commemorative piece in the state quarter series, but as we'll soon see, there was more to this coin than met the eye. The design of the Oregon 1859 quarter was created by U.S. Mint engraver John Flanagan, who was responsible for many iconic designs throughout the history of American coinage. The obverse, which features a portrait of George Washington, had remained unchanged for decades, as Flanagan design had been the standard for the Washington quarter since 1932. However, the reverse, with its depiction of Crater Lake, was a new addition, one that had special significance for the people of Oregon. But why did this particular quarter capture the attention of collectors, and how did it become one of the most sought-after coins in history? Well, as with many things in the world of numismatics, sometimes it's not just about the design, but the process. During the production of the Oregon 1859 quarters, a series of errors began to surface, errors that would ultimately drive the value of these coins to unimaginable heights. Minting errors are a fascinating part of the world of coin collecting. Errors can range from subtle variations to more noticeable flaws, and they are highly prized by collectors. A slight misalignment, a double strike, or a misplaced die can transform an ordinary coin into a rare and valuable piece of history. And that's exactly what happened with the Oregon 1859 quarter. A mistake during the minting process led to a small but significant error that caused a select number of these coins to stand out from the rest. This mistake made the 2005 Oregon quarter much more than a simple piece of change. It made it a collector's treasure. The error that made the Oregon 1859 quarter so unique involved a combination of factors: the die used to strike the coin, a slight misalignment during the minting process, and the positioning of the coin itself. Some of the Oregon 1859 quarters were struck with an off-center image. The design of the coin was not fully aligned, causing part of the image of Crater Lake to be cut off, while part of the surrounding text was missing or incomplete. This error resulted in a coin that looked slightly different from the standard issue, and it caught the eye of eagle-eyed collectors who knew exactly what to look for. In addition to the off-center error, there were other variations found among these coins. Some featured doubled inscriptions, where the words, Oregon 1859, were printed more than once, creating a blurry, ghost-like effect. These unique, rare variations were sought after by collectors, as they represented a moment when the minting process had gone wrong in an intriguing way, resulting in a coin that was not just another commemorative quarter, but a fascinating piece of numismatic history. It wasn't long before the 2005 Oregon 1859 quarters with these errors started to surface at coin shows and auctions. At first, these error coins were valued somewhat modestly. After all, the Oregon quarter was still a relatively new release. But as collectors began to realize just how rare these error coins were, their value skyrocketed. Coins that were initially worth just a quarter started fetching hundreds, then thousands of dollars. As the market for error coins heated up, the rarity of the off-center strike and the doubled inscriptions meant that only a select few of the 2005 Oregon 1859 quarters were worth anything significant. The errors, combined with the increasing demand for these unique coins, caused the value of these quarters to rise dramatically. As more of these coins were discovered and graded by professional numismatic organizations, the value continued to climb. One particular example of the Oregon 1859 quarter, a flawless, off-center strike with clear, well-defined images, was sold for an eye-popping $123,000 at a major coin auction. The coin was in pristine condition, with little wear and an almost perfect off-center design, making it one of the most valuable examples of the Oregon 1859 quarter in existence. The sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, and it became a symbol of how an ordinary coin could transform into a rare, highly prized item when it contained just the right combination of factors. But what does this mean for collectors today? Well, the lesson here is clear: always keep an eye out for those small, seemingly insignificant errors. Even a coin as common as the 2005 Oregon 1859 quarter can hold the key to a small fortune. If you happen to find an Oregon 1859 quarter in your change, it's worth taking a close look to see if it has any of these minting errors. While most of these coins are still worth only 25 cents, a rare error coin could be worth much, much more, and for those who have been lucky enough to already find a 2005 Oregon 1859 quarter with an off-center strike or doubled inscriptions, you might just have a treasure on your hands. As the demand for error coins continues to rise, so too will the value of these rare finds. A quarter that was once worth only 25 cents could now be worth $123,000, or more, as the market for error coins continues to heat up. So, the next time you're checking through your spare change, remember this story. The 2005 Oregon 1859 quarter may seem like just another coin, but in the world of coin collecting, it could very well be your ticket to a small fortune. After all, in the world of numismatics, sometimes the smallest mistakes lead to the most incredible rewards.